just wanted to get this final all clear from our warden, and we'll be all set to enter into the reserve and begin our safari. If you're going to be taking pictures or videos, make sure that the flash is turned off for the safety of our animals. And I would recommend in action or sports mode, since we'll be moving and so will they. That's going to help you avoid any blurry pictures of trees. Alright, there's that all clear. So we're all set to enter the reserve. On the right-hand side, we can see an okapi. Okapis have black and white stripes on their legs, very similar to a zebra. However, they are the closest known relative of a giraffe. We know this because giraffes and okapis have nearly identical skull structures, and they'll both use their prehensile tongue to pull leaves off of branches. Okapis were once thought to be a mythical creature because they're so reclusive, so great at hiding. They actually weren't discovered all the way up until 1901. Before that, there had been drawings and stories of okapis, so they thought perhaps it was a mythical creature that someone had just made up. Over on the right-hand side, we can see greater kudu up on top of this hill. Greater kudus are a type of antelope species. You can see a black rhinoceros over on the left-hand side. You can see another black rhino ahead on the left. Way on top of the ridge there too. A bit closer to the truck, we're going to see a saddle-billed stork up against this rock wall. This bird gets their name from the yellow marker on their bill. It happens to look like the seat of an English riding saddle. Now there are only about 5,000 black rhinos left in all of Africa. They don't have any natural predators in the wild though. Unfortunately, their biggest threat is us humans, and that is especially due to poaching. Rhinos are often poached for the horns on top of their head. You can see bongos here on the left-hand side. Bongos have the nickname the ghosts of the forest. Friends, make sure we're staying fully seated at all times. Fully seated. They are able to move very quickly and quietly through the trees. In the forest do suffer from habitat loss that's caused especially by deforestation, and that supports our own paper industry. So we can help to protect these animals by reducing our paper use. We can recycle paper and switch to more eco-friendly alternatives. Bamboo products are a great alternative because it grows much faster than trees do. We're heading into the banks of the Safi River. We'll see pink-backed pelicans on the right-hand side. These birds get their name because the skin on their backs will turn pink, especially during their mating season. It sometimes even looks like they're blushing. You can also see Nile hippopotamus out of the water on the right. Hippos do spend most of their days in the water to keep cool, but they'll come out of the water at night for feeding or socializing, or during the colder months just to enjoy some sunshine.
Ouais, ils font d'autres dos. Ouais, on regarde l'autre côté. Ouais,
we can help to protect the animals that live in rivers just like this one by keeping our local lakes and streams clean, especially of pollutants like litter or fertilizer runoff. As we learned in Finding Nemo, all drains eventually lead to the ocean. By protecting local water sources, we can protect water systems across the globe. Ahead of us on the left, we're going to be passing over some Nile crocodiles.
Viens, Ali, les alligators. Viens, les crocodiles. Petit crocodile.
Crocodiles are an ectothermic reptile. That means that they can't control their own body temperature. They'll rely on their environment to do that for them. When they're too hot, they get into the cold water to cool down. But when they're too cold, they'll get out of the water to bask in the nice warm sunshine. For this reason, groups of crocodiles have different names depending on where you see them. On land, they're called a bask. In the water, they're called a float. And right behind you, they're called a run faster. Over on the right-hand side of the truck, we're seeing a baobab tree. It's also known as an upside-down tree because it looks like its roots are in the air. The baobab tree will stay leafless for about 9 months of the year, and this helps it to conserve water. Unlike most trees that store water in their leaves, the baobab tree stores water in its trunk, just like a water tank. During times of drought on the savanna, animals can come up to the tree to get water from it. They'll use their tusks and horns to dig into that tree trunk and get at that much needed water source. This gives the baobab tree its second nickname, that's the tree of life. As we head on to the savanna here, this is the largest part of our reserve, also home to some of the most recognizable animals. You can see Maasai and giraffes ahead on the right-hand side. We'll also be on the lookout for Hartman's mountain zebras, maybe even some African elephants later on. Now, all of the animals here on the savanna will work together during an annual event called the Great Migration. They'll move across the entire continent of Africa, all together as one giant migration group. They're following rain patterns and in search of fresh vegetation and fresh water. Giraffes are able to eat through the top of the tree canopy. This helps to let in a lot more sunlight for grass and lower vegetations to grow. Over on the left side, you can see just a glimpse of the painted dogs. These dogs are the most feared predators of the entire savanna. They have an over 90% success rate when they're hunting.
Wow.
On the right-hand side, we're seeing Ankole cattle. Cattle's large U-shaped horns can have up to 6 feet of space in between the tips of them. Their horns are actually hollow on the inside with a honeycomb structure designed to let blood cool down as it circulates through them. Also some sable antelopes over your left shoulder. Sable antelopes are the bravest animal here on the savanna. They're known for charging towards danger, leading the way with their very long, sharp horns. Now, because of giraffes' height, they also have a very important role to play during the Great Migration. Giraffes are the tallest species, so they can see danger way before anyone else can. They'll give smaller animals a bit of a heads up if there are any predators nearby. For most of the animals here on the savanna, their best defense is to be faster than danger. Now friends, we do not want to call out to the animals, we're just guests in their homes, so please do not whistle, do not make noises at them, please. Friends, do not whistle at the animals, we're just guests in their homes. You gotta be respectful of them. Giraffes spend about 20 hours of their day eating. As they go from tree to tree, they bring little bits and pieces of each previous tree along with them. And this helps to pollinate plants across the savanna as well. Now up ahead on the right, we're going to see wildebeest. Wildebeest are the leaders of the Great Migration. Since they travel in the largest group, there could be over 1 million wildebeest traveling all together in a group we call a confusion. As the wildebeest travel, it's common for them to stampede. Their hooves trample the ground, and this helps to turn over the soil for next year's vegetation growth. Over on the right-hand side, way on top of the hill, we can see Hartman's mountain zebras. A bit closer to us on this hillside are springboks. Now, just like we all have unique fingerprints, zebras all have unique stripe patterns. And those stripes are super important for the zebra's camouflage. When they're standing in a group called a dazzle, it's pretty difficult for predators to even recognize them as individual animals. They all just look like TV static to the predator's eyes. Springboks are the smallest animals, the smallest antelope species we'll see on the reserve. They get their name because when they're frightened, they'll leap about 6 feet into the air. And they can leap as far forward as 13 feet forward by clocking. That means that they kick all 4 of their limbs into the air, and their back will bend like a U shape. ecosystem is a very balanced one. All of the animals and plants work together to create this environment. It's a great example of why conservation is so important. If you were to remove any one species from this ecosystem, it really wouldn't operate in quite the same way. So it's so important to protect all the animals that we see out here.
Yeah, same. Oh, la marqué.
And because conservation is so important, here at Animal Kingdom we have Disney's Conservation Fund. It's a way to help protect and support conservation projects and efforts all across the globe. One of my favorite projects that this supports is called the Elephants and Bees Project. Elephants are very afraid of bees, and as habitat loss is becoming more common, elephants are more commonly migrating and trampling farmers' crops as they move through the area. So we've been helping farmers to build beehive fences around their fields as a way to more naturally deter the elephants from walking through the area. This project has been quite a big success. It's estimated that it stopped 80% of elephants from walking through farmers' fields. And as an added bonus, the farmers gain a new crop of honey that they're able to sell. Through the Disney Conservation Fund, we're able to continue this project, still build more beehive fences for farmers at absolutely no cost to them, and giving them the training to become a beekeeper so they can maintain those fences and harvest their honey. Head on the left-hand side, we're going to see a family group of African elephants. Elephants do operate as a matriarchy, so you'll typically see the mother or grandmother elephant be the one to lead the group. Male elephants will actually leave the group once they reach maturity, around 10 years old. So we'll sometimes see male elephants living by themselves or with other male elephants in a smaller bachelor group.
Les éléphants. Vois-tu? Les éléphants. Ouais, ils sont gros, hein? Ouais, ils sont bien nourris. Ça donne pas drôle. Ils mangent. Ils déjeunent.
Elephants are also very adaptable. We'll see them living in savanna ecosystems like this, as well as jungles. Even wetlands like swamps and marshes can make their homes.
Oui. Oh, il y a de l'eau.
Over on the left side here, we're seeing a flamboyance of greater flamingos. There are some pretty young flamingos in this group. They have the black and white feathers. They're starting to turn a bit more pink around their wings. It takes about 18 months for flamingos to get to their full pink color. You can see elands over on the right-hand side here. These are the largest antelope species we'll see. Male elands will dig those horns into the ground during mating rituals, and they make a really pretty flower crown that they'll use to attract the ladies. Up ahead we're going to see a crash of white rhinoceros. There are some pretty young white rhinos living on the reserve as well. There's actually 3 white rhino calves. The oldest of the calves just had his 2nd birthday in December. We'll see some ostriches up ahead on the right-hand side. Ostriches are the largest bird in the world. They can stand up to 6 feet tall at their shoulders.
Wow.
They're also the fastest animal on 2 legs with a top speed of 40 miles an hour. Up ahead over on the left side, we're going to see some cheetahs prowling around this hillside.
D'après moi, s'ils se plantent à cette vitesse-là, ils ont l'air de
land mammal in the
toi.
world. They can go from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 3 seconds. And they can only maintain that top speed for a few hundred yards. So they do need to rely on ambushing their prey as they're hunting.
Léopard.
In order to help cheetahs reach their top speed, their claws are always out. Actually, the only cat that cannot fully retract their claws. Similar to how we work leads during sports like soccer or football, the cheetah's claws are going to help them to get better traction as they're running.
Oh, ici les lions.
You can see a lion up ahead on top of the rocks to the left. Now the male lion in this group, he's actually a bit famous. He was the model for Simba in the live-action Lion King movie.
Oh.
Now you can all say you've seen a movie star here at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah,
Lions are pretty inactive for most of the day. They'll sleep anywhere from 16 to 20 hours. And they usually wait until nighttime to go hunting. So their eyesight is the strongest.
Oui, il fait le roi lion.
When lions do go on to hunt, it will typically be the female lions hunting. Male lions are much more likely to stay back to protect the rest of the pride. You can see a bontebok over on the right-hand side. Bonteboks are another member of the antelope family. Their closest relative would be a wildebeest. Friends, again, we do not want to whistle at these animals. We are guests in their home, and it is just disrespectful. You can see a couple female lions lying on top of the rocks here on the left as well. Female lions will be the hunters of the group. Male lions are much more likely to stay back and protect the rest of the pride. Now, bonteboks have a very special place in my heart. They were poached almost to extinction for their coats. But luckily, a local farmer took notice and actually brought bonteboks onto his own land to keep them protected from the poachers. And it is because of this farmer that we can still see bonteboks today. Their population has grown from 17 to over 3,000 bonteboks now. So you're going to see another mom and baby group of white rhino up ahead. The white rhinos are a near threatened species in the wild, so it's super important to see them continuing to grow and thrive here on the reserve. On the right, you can see the calf is actually shaping their horn. Rhino calves are made of keratin, just like our own hair and nails are. Just like we shape our hair and nails, rhinos can shape their horns. And rhinos can actually run up to 35 miles an hour. When they run, they gallop. So just like horses, all 4 of their legs will leave the ground.
Wow.
Now friends, as we cross this bridge, it does mean that we are officially leaving the reserve. So it is time to say asante sana. Thank you all for joining me. I know 2 weeks can seem to fly by when you're on a safari. As we make our way back to the village, we're going to pass the warden's post. Warden Matua has been raising Nigerian dwarf goats. They make for really great dairy livestock because of their small size. They take up way less space than other dairy livestock like cows do, and their milk is lactose free.
Il y a les chèvres. Il y a les chèvres, tu vois.
Here on the reserve, we have a saying that what you see with your eyes, you cherish forever in your heart. I certainly hope that you've seen an animal that will inspire you to begin your own conservation journey and help us out with the protection of these animals. There are so many ways to protect animals all across the reserve. We can reduce our paper waste to protect animals of the Ituri forest, keep our waterways clean to protect animals in the Safi River, And we can protect animals all across the savanna by recycling our used electronics. An important component found in almost all electronics today is a mineral called coltan. Now, unfortunately, coltan is mined from many of the remaining habitats left here in Africa. Luckily, though, coltan can be reused again and again. So when we recycle our devices, it helps to reduce the need for mining it from these animals' homes. We can also protect animals across the globe by supporting conservation efforts. Here at Animal Kingdom, there are a lot of conservation efforts happening throughout the park, including Disney's Conservation Fund. It's super easy to support this fund. When you find souvenirs or meals in the park, they might ask if you'd like to round up the change for the fund. Just know that if you choose to do so, Disney matches your donation. All donations go directly to protecting endangered wildlife. After you go home, I certainly encourage you to continue supporting your local conservation efforts. You can help out with a neighborhood cleanup or even build a backyard ecosystem to protect your most local animal friends. If you'd like to learn more about the Disney Conservation Fund, you can check out disney.com/conservation. There you'll find all of the 2023 grant recipients, as well as some fantastic conservation resources for you as well.